Hello and welcome to our next installment of the Twits. Now, I have to give you a forewarning in this chapter that there is some drawn childness that is it's silly and it's supposed to make you laugh. That is 100% why this illustration was done. You can also see an illustration like it at Wacky Wednesday where there's for no reason at all a naked child behind. And this one has a reason and plot, but it's for some reason books made in the 70s, 80s, drawn during those times. There was just sometimes this kind of funny thing, and it is there 100% to make the reader laugh. So that's your warning. You've been warned. Okay, so let's get started with our chapter. Okay, well, first we got a review, of course. Okay, so we came up to the last time, and they're done pranking each other. Eyeballs and drinks, spaghetti that's worms, sending your wife up into the air hoping she'll die, her coming back down and beating you with the stick. Okay, all those things. And now we've come to the actual ending plot line of this story. And we've come to the bird pie idea was the last thing we had. We were all disgusted about how he's just catching birds and his wife just sticks them in a pie and their feet sticking up all over the pie, if you remember, which is pretty gross. Remember this picture? Bird pie. It's what they eat on Wednesdays, I believe. Yes, Wednesdays. They eat bird pie on Wednesdays because on Tuesday he puts the hug-tight sticky glue onto the tree. And so we will now look at the pictures. You were warned. And we will look at the title. Because if you look at the title, you get to know some things about what's going to happen in the chapter. So let's look at this one. The title of this chapter is 4 Sticky Little Boys. Okay. So in my head, I know 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I know that 4 is a number, and they're apparently going to be sticky. The sticky 4 boys. Okay, so now we look at the pictures. Now I will not be fooled again. There are splices, see? But that just means there's a picture. So we see a tree, some children, a ladder. The children look like rag dolls or weird. Might be just an illustrator's idea of a good time. Oh, the glare. Okay. Let's keep looking. Then we see pants and a tree, and we see some young men running away without pants on. And that's it. Those are the only 2 chapters. These are the only 2 pictures in this chapter. You guys will forgive me, right? My voice is all over the place, but we're going to read it because this is a great chapter. 4 sticky little boys. On one Tuesday evening after Mr. Twits had been up the ladder and smeared the tree with hug-tight, that's the kind of sticky glue he uses, he smeared it, which means he spread the glue across, 4 little boys crept into the garden to look at the monkeys. Now, if my neighbor had monkeys, I would probably be trying to creep into their garden and look at his monkeys too. Especially if I was a little boy and I could still creep quietly. Okay, anyways, crept means they're sneakily. They're getting into the garden real quiet. Okay. So they're going to look at monkeys. They didn't care about the thistles or the stinging nettles. Those are stickers. Not when there were monkeys to look at. After a while, they got tired of looking at the monkeys. So they explored further into the garden and found a ladder leaning against the big dead tree. They decided to climb it just for fun. There's nothing wrong with that. The next morning, when Mr. Twit went out to collect the birds, he found 4 miserable little boys sitting in the tree, which means they're sad. They're not happy. They're not having a good time. That's what miserable means. 4 miserable little boys sitting in the tree, stuck as tight as could be by the seats of their pants to the branches. There were no birds because the presence of the boys had scared them away. So these 4 boys are up in that tree acting like scarecrows, which saves the birds from dying in a bird pie, but also I think there's another consequence. Mr. Twit was furious, really mad. As there are no birds for my pie tonight, he shouted, then it'll have to be boys instead. He started to climb the ladder. Boy pie might be better than bird pie, he went on, grinning horribly. More meat and not so many tiny little bones. The boys were terrified. He's going to boil us, cried one of them. He'll stew us alive, wailed the second one. He'll cook us with carrots, cried the third. But the fourth little boy, who had more sense than the others, whispered, listen, I've just had an idea. We're only stuck by the seat of our pants. So quick, unbutton your pants, slip out of them, and fall to the ground. Here he is, coming for the boys. Mr. Twit had reached the top of the ladder and was just about to make a grab for the nearest boy when, all of a sudden, they tumbled out of the tree and ran for home, their naked bottoms shining in the sun. And that's the end of that chapter. Now, I went over the vocabulary as we were going through, but let's review it real quick. Smeared. Remember, he had smeared the tree, which means he spread the Hug Tight sticky glue, which is the name of, it's like the brand name of it, super glue, Hug Tight. Okay, so he spread it across. Crept means quietly, sneakily. They got into the garden because they wanted to see the monkeys. Okay, and then there were thistles and nettles that they didn't care about. They didn't care about the stickers because tough little boys. Okay, and then they were miserable. They'd been out there all night, stuck to a tree in these horrible people's garden. They were sad, they were uncomfortable, they were miserable. Okay, so thus ends the chapter called Four Sticky Little Boys.